Hello, welcome. It's good to see people coming in. If you haven't already done so, please use our chat feature and let us know where you're joining. We're so happy to have you here. My name is Ryo Yamaguchi, and I am the publisher and executive director at Copper Canyon Press. I'm joining you from the extraordinary northern New Mexico, Santa Fe, still recognized as Ogopoge, White Shell Water Place, in the historic and current home of the Tewa among numerous adjacent cultural identities. We are joined by my colleagues in our longtime home in Port Townsend, Washington, on the beautiful Olympic Peninsula, and others in Minneapolis, Atlanta, Boston, Davis, and beyond. Please let us know where you're joining from. As we continue to gather, I want to give heartfelt acknowledgement to our hardworking volunteer board of directors, whom I know are out there joining us tonight. In so many ways, they are critical to all that we do at Copper Canyon Press. Please join us in our thanks to them. Our gratitude as well to the foundations and organizations who help us realize our mission. This includes the Poetry Foundation, Hawthornden Foundation, Witterbinner Foundation for Poetry, Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, and more. And my thanks especially to you. There are hundreds of you who generously give in amounts from $10 to $10,000, and each of you, I want to say, thank you. You are the reason the poems can find life among the readers who need them. If you're not already a donor to the press, we humbly ask that you become one tonight. Tonight is a vital fundraiser for Copper Canyon Press. At the heart of the support that we seek is a crucial question. What will we carry forward? It was inspired by the core themes of Paisley Rekdal's forthcoming collection, HERITANCE, themes that carry through into our entire fall season of books. We have a $25,000 goal that we need to make by May 31st. We've already made about 15% of it. It's a good start, but we've got a good ways to go. I'll look forward to updating you live this evening as we approach that goal. To make your gift, you can use the QR code on screen or the links in our chat. Thank you. We are in for a very special reading, a sneak peek into the extraordinary poems and poetics of HERITANCE. Paisley Rekdal has long been celebrated for her expansive, genre-defying work, from the multimedia docupoetics of West to the photoforensic detective stories in Imaginary Vessels, to her incisive prose works on culture and identity. As a poet laureate of the state of Utah and as the director of the American West Center, Paisley has led powerful projects seeking ways collective histories can be articulated through a singular voice. In HERITANCE, she brings this massive range of insight and daring to what are, on the surface, simple poems about family. But be not fooled. These dynamic, tensile poems burrow down the page and into the predicament we all share as humans at this moment in history, with legacies both honored and fraught. What they find in their depths is us. I am so excited to experience them with you tonight. Following the reading, Paisley will be joined in conversation with our executive editor and artistic director, my good friend, Michael Wiegers. Many of you already know Michael from the countless readings he's hosted. He is a generous and sagacious guide and one of Paisley's biggest fans. It will be an illuminating conversation. Before Paisley reads, I want to go over just a few quick logistics to make sure we're all comfortable in this shared virtual space. If it would help you to see closed captioning, you can enable those captions at the bottom of your Zoom screen. The event will be recorded and shared on our YouTube channel as soon as we can get it rendered. Use the chat button below to say hello, offer encouragement, and especially to share lines and phrases from tonight's program that especially find you where you are. My thanks to our fantastic team running tech and logistics tonight, and to all of my colleagues for their care and good work. And I think that's enough from me for now. Friends, readers, poets, I'd like to introduce Paisley Rekdal.
Hi. Sorry. Um, Had a little dog emergency there. Hi, everyone, and hello to everyone over at Copper Canyon. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting the press, and thank you so much for featuring me and this book, which is it's a messy and a personal kind of book, but it's one that really I was thinking a lot about in the last several years. I think a lot of us have felt that some of the familial, communal, political institutions that um, support us, that represent us, maybe are not necessarily the ones who our values are still aligned with. What does that mean for us? For me personally, I was thinking a lot about what happens when some of the family values that you are really wanting to carry forward into the future are ones that maybe you find more and more suspect. I'm at that really interesting generation, Generation X, where I think a lot of us can remember a very different kind of politics that shaped us when we were young, and then the ways in which we've seen those politics become really suspect, really problematic, something that we ourselves want to change. And sometimes it comes really close to home. The first poem I'm going to read is called Memento, and I want to show an image of these shadow boxes that actually are not quite the inspiration, but kind of speaking to this. So, one of the things that I am inheriting or have inherited that I love the most is actually a photo album from my grandfather, who was Chinese American, who, took these amazing photos of his life, mostly women, which I'll talk about in a second, but he also would draw little cartoons around them. He would write poems in Chinese, things like that. And so he made this very interactive kind of photo text of his own life. And I was thinking about the idea of what it means to keep a memento. And when I went back, I created my own sort of shadow box, honoring him, but at the same time also showing what he did collect. So he took pictures of his many, many girlfriends. He was a good-looking guy, evidently, and he had quite a few conquests. And it was a photo album with all of these different women in it, but no picture of my grandmother, which I think was very interesting in and of itself. And so I sort of created this tangled shadow box with fragments of letters, his photographs, a magpie. I can talk about that later, and these images of women. And recently, I shouldn't say recently, a few years ago, a friend of mine, her husband died, and he collected some very problematic mementos. And this is a poem that talks about taking one of those mementos and what that means. So I'll read this now. Memento. How thoughtlessly I took it, this cast iron Aunt Jemima doll hauled from the trunk of my white friend's car. Another of T's, her Jamaican husband's mementos he collected as a joke. Not unlike those figurines a college friend once exhibited, who'd bought Aunt Jemima spoons, shirts, piggy banks, left his apartment strewn with Uncle Remus albums scavenged from thrift shops, some terrible gag he'd invite friends over to witness. We'd sit and try not to look, or to look and laugh with the same irony he'd cultivated, though of course it couldn't be the same. He was black, and we were not, and didn't each of us still have some cupboard sticky with the drippings from these crystallized red caps, a box of Uncle Ben's growing rancid in the pantry? My friend, I don't think, enjoyed these figurines so much as our discomfort. The fact he could see us for the first time see the image the way he'd had to, which is not the same as feeling his own anger reflected back in us, but the parsing of some inbuilt limit where his and our histories split apart. Of course, none of us thought the collection that funny to begin with, but no one would say it. How tired we found the game, our laughter less a reckoning with shame than an indulgence he thought he granted us, that he insisted he perform for and with us. But at whose expense? Did I mention my friend was half white? Light-skinned, raised by a white and single mother, his collection perhaps an imagined test for being black, some self-hating shorthand he could display and thus control for those both too like him and nothing like himself. I had, in my own closet, a pair of Japanese dolls gifted me by my white grandmother, who'd bought them from a Chinatown gift shop after my mother said she should have something that looks like herself. And so here they were, twin geishas with real hair, movable feet, scrap silk obies. How Paw grimaced when I unwrapped them, she who refused even to eat in Japanese restaurants. Now she'd be sewing tiny yukatas for a half-white granddaughter every Christmas. I kept these dolls far past childhood as my own kind of joke, as if I had not loved the cloud-spun hair, the gilt kimonos. And now I wonder if my friends' figurines were chosen only for disdain, not some tenderness remaining for the soft cheek, the glowing eyes, more penetrating if blanker than a mother's, perhaps more familiar than a mother's because they watched him at the breakfast table in every white friend's house, his only ally and witness, uncanny reflection of an already uncanny self. I kept my own dolls on a shelf, hid them when friends brought theirs over, the blondes with their pink cars, houses, their multiple husbands. But I kept my dolls' faces clean, wiped away the dirt stains from their feet, the only thing about them that could move because they were meant to dance, my white grandmother told me. I have no idea where these dolls are now. I never added to their collection the way my friend did, the way T did, who died of leukemia and never found his collection painful, perhaps because he never saw himself as American. They were a token of our racism. He'd absented himself from the equation, while his white wife, who despised them, learned to tolerate them because she loved him. Was it worse that T and my friend made a joke of it, pretending they could stand so outside these images that, in displaying them, they'd appear exceptional in their self-control, the collections become a show of ownership itself? And why take one myself if I had no reason to memorialize him like this? Not thoughtless, exactly, my impulse to reach for it, this memento of endless negation, fun house mirror in which I can stare and see some part of myself reflected back through time, distorted, yes, but some crucial truth of me still recognizable, if grotesque to others. My Japanese dolls were common replicas, I learned, having seen them in high school at the house of a friend whose grandfather fought in the Pacific Theater. He'd brought them home for his wife. Now they languished on a shelf in dusty shrouds, souvenirs of a country he bombed but never saw, and now displayed in a glass-backed case. My friend in college quit school early, joined a band that became, in the 90s, briefly famous, got rich, left town, never contacted any one of us again. It wasn't for him. As it wasn't for T, I selected this doll, gone now into the back of a closet where it will remain until I find some like-minded person never to display it, because I cannot, would not ever display it. Nor will I sell it, not trusting who else would want it. In truth, I am owned now by this doll. It chose me once I chose to take it. I cannot release it to anyone else's version of history. Who else will love this doll the way it demands to be loved, the way I have learned to love myself in it, which is to say, how I've learned to accept my appearance in it, which is to say, I am not laughing here. I took it. I am the joke. Um, this next poem, which is shorter, is also a kind of memento poem in a way. And it's thinking about how it is we might remember some of the natural beings, the more than human beings we live with in this age of climate change as we lose them. Taking the magnolia. Always, I'd said of this slow upswelling, flames of white, purple, royal purple, they call this magnolia. The winds shivered, split, to its drought-splintered crotch. I watched it, once eased into the ground where a neighbor planted it. Now I watch her son take it down, take with it all the buds of its renewing flowers, always on the verge of flowering, into a future that will not reliably come. Always is not a word we are allowed to use about anything in the world. We must put some part of it into a category of pure mind now. No deepening snows, no blue-eyed glacier, the damp-skinned buds peeled open only to rot. 1,000 candles, 1,000 mouths widen their pinks atop what the arborist calls unhealable wound. I need to slip this tree inside myself, crystallize its images into words which, if never made real, remain transferable. What purpose otherwise is grief? Otherwise, why watch this tree wither to ground? Why follow it to its final abandonment? Here is my small replenishing, each year making the flowers in mind more vibrant, plentiful. It feeds some kind of denial, yes, without which no past, no future left to speak of. The tree inside me grows. I hold its 1,000 tongues, 1,000 fires alight. They will never burn you, no, though no one will come to put them out. This book was also kind of starting to circulate around ideas of how we remember. And in that sense, the question of art and artistry and writing, of course, becomes central to that. That question of what is literature doing? What does a painting do? In what ways does art preserve? Or in what ways maybe does art's preservation actually fail us? And this long poem thinks about this, and it actually also talks about the job that I am now doing as director of the American West Center. There are a number of images that this poem references, and you'll see them come up on screen around the time that I'm talking about them. So some of them are famous, some of them maybe you've never seen before. And anyway, this is a meditation in some ways on the limitations of art. Dulce et decorum. I was never meant to disappear into the poem the night nurse reads my father at the polio hospital. The boys, with their blood-soaked feet stumbling down the road, gas pouring from the skies in thin, streaky clouds of yellow. My father is 12. He is sick from a swim in his grandmother's pond, which caused his limbs to lock, shrivel, and whiten like the president's, his slender body slipping into fever as if into a dream. I could devote myself to being cured or to strengthening my ambitions, this same president is said to have said, soaking in the mineral waters of warm springs, which never cured him nor anyone. It is not poetry that will cure my father, nor the stories the night nurse recites about children starving in the villages of China and Africa. Their suggestion that my father's endurance of pain is contingent only upon knowing others suffer more, sympathy's inbuilt limit ending at the border of imagination and shame. A version of the tale my father will one day yell at me, demanding to know why I believe the world owes me anything. On the table between us, an art book entitled Escape to Reality I'd bought at the museum show of New Deal art I visited, their blue-throated factories, their lemon lights. I'd liked, in particular, a Grant Wood portrait of a boy wearing an orange sweater, football tucked beneath his arm, something like a leather truss cinched around his waist. Beside it, paintings of laid-off workers, male legs mostly, a parade of dark boots marching down the street. So many versions of sorrow. Here is a photo the War Relocation Authority commissioned from Dorothea Lange, an American flag twisting in the desert dust of topaz. It is collected too in my book alongside pictures of funeral wreaths erected for James Wakasa, a prisoner shot by a military guard while walking his dog. I'd seen copies of these photos before, remember them mostly for the gallery in which they'd been hung, a long white corridor stretching between the museum's toilet and cafe. I paced there one of the endless afternoons of my ending marriage, parsing the insult of their placement, particles of strangers' breath and hair evaporating into the air the way a nightmare dissolves into the morning after you've woken, its unreality slowly settling back into the familiar until you are standing with a cup of coffee beside the frank white countertop, wondering if it is the phone or you finally choosing which glimpses of the world should astonish. Do you want a cat video, a dancing parrot? Do you want a man screaming over his ash-shrouded child? Do you know me? Do you see me? I once heard my father beg, but only in his sleep. My father, in the polio hospital, drowses in a room his mother is never allowed to visit. The air is thick with the vinegary stench of antiseptic and sweated through sheets, my father's blonde hair growing darker with grease until its shade almost matches that of the boy in the Grant Wood painting. In one of the few photos I have of my father as a child, he sits with a little stuffed dog that looks like a terrier. He wears a wool sweater with the Norwegian snowflake pattern knitted into its collar, a nod to the land of his own absent father, the biological fact of this bond rendered in wool and yoke and needle. Don't you want something so tangible to which you might devote yourself? An escape to the real, you might call it, like the clean, observant gaze turned to a child's rolled down sock or the tattered corner of a paper suitcase you'd find in one of Lang's photos. It wasn't art she'd made, or it wasn't not art. These portraits, commissioned then impounded by the army once Lang was fired, vanished into the basement of some government institution, along with the shots Ansel Adams took of children in Manzanar, farm boys smiling with the great heads of cabbages they'd grown, or reciting in unison the Pledge of Allegiance. I hated those photos as a child, dozing over their grainy blacks and whites, what my history teacher liked to call the elegance of their composition. Photos, I later learned, the president himself never saw, the one with his wheelchair cloaked in rhetoric and shawls, whose laws created both the camps and the programs that documented them. I suppose, in certain lights, no one can tell the difference between callousness and shame. Where does history end and art begin in the great sweep of our forgetting, preserved inside a handful of facts, the number of bombs our country exports, and their dead, the first female polio scientist testing out her vaccine by injecting herself? Is she the ghost or moral of this story I keep repeating for its little punch, though in none of my renditions do I ever recall the woman's name? I suppose I prefer the risk to her identity, raised to trust entirely too much in the stories of institutions, which is why I run a center now myself, a small, rickety building that smells of curdled milk and is dedicated to the study of the American West. In one of the archives in my center's basement are records of the Utah uranium boom after Hiroshima, histories of the Navajo miners, some of whom spread its dust across their lintels. Their children even licked their fingers sticky with it because uranium in sunlight looks like sacred corn pollen. In one of the files are the testimonies of these miners. They stop at 1975, just before the waves of cancer diagnoses and lawsuits. Reading them, you read from the other edge of the future's precipice, your mind speeding towards and away from the lightning fields of judgment. The archive stops at its particular date, just as photographers have now stopped documenting Topaz, the desert pulsing silently still with its hot ghost lives. My father, in his polio bed, swims in and out of sleep. The poems the night nurse reads him filter through only some part of his consciousness, a lesson perhaps, or a pleasure he'll recall later as a cool hand stroking his hair, the world of a woman's attention he can enter only in his dreams. He is young enough still to find fascinating the poem's gore, its terror, coming only to adore those boys, the terrible solitude of their self-sacrifice and pain. He will miss Owen's point about war's futility, mishearing it as a simple paean to the cost of patriotism he'll misquote to his mother once before volunteering for Vietnam. I don't understand what the point of literature is if people are such terrible readers of it. I don't know whether to call it an act of ambition or faith, that scientist who, for her country, she claimed, bared one pale shoulder to the needle full of what she only hoped couldn't kill her. What is the real, if not this turn from the fervent to the mortal, the coldly imagined future to our undeniable present? My father's legs and mind and heart are weakening, perhaps from polio's return. He would resent me for saying this, for this portrait I have drawn of him here, his helplessness as a child, that is only one way of reading him as an adult, a symbol to inspire sympathy, if not function as evidence. My father absorbed for me into the body of that boy in the Grant Wood painting, just as I have now become what my father fears, a woman with a future to walk off into and never visit him. Do we love only through the lens of someone else's imagining? Would it have made a difference if the president had seen Lang's photos, or would he have simply admired those flaring winds, the distant mountains, volcanic blacks? Why mistake beauty for tenderness or truth, that cup of faith so sweet and bitter to drink from? Beauty becomes the only fitting vessel to carry belief itself to the lips. My father, when I was a child, was ferocious, unfathomable. Can you blame me for turning him now into a boy in a sick bed, an empty frame I might fill for you with story after story? One swallows the poison that is also the cure, and who is to say which potion we believe we drink? The night nurse pushes back the hair from my father's face. The poem spool out from history into her mouth, into my father's ear, and into the book I keep in my purse. It is about another war just now flickering across my screen. In between its pages, I've tucked a postcard to use as a bookmark, a single photo of a tree in moonlight. You've seen it, even if you don't recall it, the one with clouds and a dark sky that looks like an endless dream or a nightmare you might have had as a child. A single tree and a blackened field, all its branches white, as if struck by lightning. And I'm going to stop there since I think I've read my 20 minutes.
Friends, I'm just going to give us a few quiet seconds. Where does history end and art begin in the great sweep of our forgetting? Thank you, Paisley. It's been such an honor to be part of these poems. So much in this reading amid these wonderful resonant images, from owning oneself in the face of a racist artifact to tending the tree that grows inside your body, to the father, simply the son of another father. I'm so moved by these culminations. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for the support you've been expressing here in the chat and by your gifts. We're already another $1,000 more toward our goal, and we'd love to keep this momentum going. As we so often do, we'd really like to send small tokens of appreciation for your contribution. This could be a copy of one of Paisley's books, or sets of specially curated boxes, or limited edition broadsides, and even more. I'd like to highlight one of these gifts. For your contribution of $150 or more, you can become a part of HERITANCE by having your name or the name of a loved one published in a special acknowledgments section, in print in perpetuity. We'd like to continue the celebration of poetry by introducing Michael Wiegers, who will join Paisley in conversation to explore some of the themes of HERITANCE. I'd like to welcome Michael and Paisley back on the screen.
Lou again.
Hello. Thank you, Ryo, and thank you, Paisley. Again, really incredible reading, and I can't wait for this book. It is just, for all of you out there, it's a stunning book. I mean, I've loved working with Paisley over the years, and this book just, I felt I got goosebumps. Just felt the hair on the back of my neck. When I first read this manuscript, it's really an extraordinary book. And Paisley, you started by saying that it was a messy and personal book. And I'm wondering if it feels more vulnerable to you than previous books.
Very much so. And I didn't read the messiest poems there. I read the philosophically some of the messier poems, but some of the personally messy ones. My the relationship with my father is very fraught. He was had problems with substances. War filters through the book. Heritances of war, things like that. So it felt like the kind of book that you can only write when someone is either about to die or has died, which is the case for me. And I did when I was writing these poems, I thought I would probably put them aside for a very long time because I wouldn't want my father to read some of them. But one of the things that also came out as I was writing these poems is that I wasn't angry. I thought I would be angrier. But there's a lot of forgiveness in a way, because I tried to think of some of the frames in which I think my father was moving. And so some of the poems, and many of them I didn't read tonight, obviously, think about obviously racial tensions that my family had to navigate, or I had to navigate, trying to, understand myself as a mixed race person in the world, the tensions between my parents and their marriage, kind of come up in different ways. And the ways in which I think my father suffered, it's a truism, but I think it really is true. Men are hurt by patriarchy just as much as women are. And so some of the ideas of masculinity that I think my father grew up with that personally, psychologically, economically wounded him, I think allowed for him to become a figure of sympathy for me towards the end. And in that last long poem, which I see as a poem I want to send to RFK Jr., thinking about like recurrence, thinking about polio actually coming back, the ways in which he could suffer a childhood disease and it would really come back and potentially get him towards the end was haunting to all of us too. So yeah, it's a long answer to that question, but it sort of kind of came out in a spill, in the end.
So I want to tease also out the interplay of family and nation also. I mean, so I'm wondering at this time, does it feel more vulnerable to write those poems? I know, some of what you're feeling about your father and about your family is all around us in the country. And I mean, does it feel more vulnerable to the unknown audience out there, beyond your family?
Yeah, I mean it's a fraught time. I think all of us know that, about what we want to talk about publicly, the ways in which I think a lot of us feel that our language is getting policed. Where I live, Utah, we've banned now 36, maybe 38 books. Um, and there's been a whole series of bills that have been pushed through the Utah legislature, which is monitoring K through 12 and higher education, like who can teach what and what can and cannot be essentially said. So we're all, furious and wanting to fight for the power of words and the power of the freedom to speak our minds, because that is one of the most deeply American rights. But one of the things that I was writing about in this book was this sort of paradox of my family. A lot of my family members were in the military. And so from Korea to Vietnam to Iraq, both Gulf Wars, and 9/11, they participated or suffered in these. And a lot of these same family members, I think, saw it as a way of becoming American. Many of them were Chinese American, like really a patriotic stance that would reveal, I think, their depth of commitment to, the nation. And whether they still believed in those wars, like my dad definitely changed his mind a lot. I think there's a lot of sense of betrayal that a lot of us are feeling, whether or not we have military families or have that relationship to war, or just are American citizens. We might feel that our institutions are betraying us. They're not fighting for the things that they think of as truly American. The right to free speech, the right for a free press, free and fair elections. It's kind of crazy. So.
So you also said that you were able to kind of find some forgiveness for your family, for your father, and I mean, so through that forgiveness of your father and knowing what some of his views were, does it help you find forgiveness at all out there again beyond the family?
No,
Or
they can rot. No forgiveness for you. Um, but I do think history, if you study history, it's not about seeking forgiveness, it's about seeking context. It's about seeking that the ways in which history is, I said in another book, a series of relations and relationships. It's not just a stream of endless facts. So understanding the ways in which we frame each other is so important. And I don't necessarily think it requires forgiveness, but it does require a depth of perception that once you have that depth of perception, you can move forward and create the history or the future that you would want. I mean, that's the Hannah Arendt's argument around modernity, like that you look in the back, look to the past, not to resuscitate or retain all of the values of the past, but to select which ones you want to. And also, it was important for me to sort of try and find forgiveness to my father because, I mean, it's too easy to look at the generation prior and say you guys got it all wrong. And one of the things about being Gen X is that I think you recognize how much we were trained into sort of wrong-headed thinking around gender and race and identity as well. And we've changed our minds quite a bit. And it's funny to run an institution and be part of an institution where you're constantly fighting for that institution to preserve and to promote and to educate values that it immediately will gut as soon as economic and political positions outside the university change. So if that's the case, what values do we really hold? And you can't help but feel, if you are the figurehead for those kinds of institutions, you can't help but feel like you're the person who's betraying your students or your children or, other people out there too. So that forgiveness is not just about, trying to find some memory of my father I can hold close for the rest of my life, but to sort of figure out who am I over time. None of us is static, and who am I going to be politically in the world? How can I be better? Yeah, and I think a lot of people have asked that question at different points in times. I think a lot of people asked it most recently after the murder of George Floyd. That was a very galvanizing experience for so many different people. For other people, they were like, we've had this conversation a long time prior. But for most of us, I think we were like, wait, who are we exactly? And who do we want to be?
I don't know if I'm getting too personal here, but you told me a story about your father and George Floyd. I don't know if you want to share that with us at all. So,
So, um, my father was a very conservative person. My father voted for Trump twice. My father changed. I have another poem that details this. He went from being sort of a normal conservative to somebody who kind of got um, brainwashed via Fox News and went a completely different direction. And he was one of those people who we would, he did not see January 6th as anything more than a bad day out. And we would just be at each other's throats on that one. But literally the night before he died, we were on the phone and I was talking to him and his mind was very clear, which was great. And he had studied constitutional law as a graduate student. And he said, the thing about America, he said, is I always believe in the right to protest. He says, in order to get the country that you want, you have to fight like hell, he said. And he said, sometimes you have to fight to the point that it's civil disobedience and civil breakdown. And I always believed that. And he said that's why the George Floyd protesters were right. And I remember I was having a little drink when he was talking. I was like, wait, what? What? Who are you? This is incredible. He said, yeah, no, they were completely right. They should have shut down the whole country. They should absolutely have shut down Minneapolis. They should have done everything. And I said, that's incredible, Dad. And he goes, yes, and that's why January 6th was also the right thing to do. And I said, and we're done. You know, but it was a really fascinating kind of moment where, I could see some of our values coming together and then also pulling apart at these things. But it was an important lesson, which is, you know, um, what we name something, do we call it protest or do we call it, t political violence? How do we name this, and how do we then see ourselves in relation to it?
Mhm. Oh my gosh, so many questions. I'm thinking of mementos and mementos as a keepsakes from history, perhaps, and just even thinking of some of the photos of your family as mementos, and what do we collect? And um, you know, you said that this book is looks at how we remember, and I'm just wondering about mementos as being a vehicle for remembrance, and how, I mean, when you look at some of the old photos of your family in the shadow box, etc., how do those mementos change how you see your family?
Yeah, they're not. It's a good question because I think photographs behave like poems in the sense that they're framed. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, not just in frames, but you're not getting. I mean, they obviously have a relationship to the real, as Sontag would say, and Barth would say, but they also are snapshots that can't take everything in. So they have an implicit frame. So it's just a snapshot of a part. So you're as aware of what is not seen as what is seen. And each one carries with it a kind of narrative. When you look at a photo, you can't help but think of like what happened or imagine what happened during the time that that photo was taken. And so they're really narrative devices. They tell stories. And just like a poem, or I would say just like a good poem, you don't go to it and have the same relationship with it every time. You don't feel the same way every time. Sometimes you like it more, sometimes you like it less, sometimes you see something new. And so when I look at these photos that I've collected in shadow boxes and, redrawn, which is another way of reinterpreting, I can't help but think that, I'm allowing myself an opportunity to go back and retell that narrative, that history in my mind. So I don't have a static representation or a static interpretation of them. And I really appreciate that. Uh, yeah, even though photo albums are usually framed to try to create the most sentimental affect and the most, you know, in some ways, the most nostalgia drenched, happy kind of affect. They don't always carry that because we have our own way of remembering what was happening when that photo was taken.
Gosh, we've got a few more minutes before you read some more, so I'm going to try and race through a couple more questions. One again, looking at mementos, I'm sitting in my office here where I've got an old wood and glass case that my brother built when we were, like 10 or 11 years old, and it's full of arrowheads and axes and tines and different artifacts from the Cahokia culture, which was largely wiped out, and we found them in a creek behind our house, which now no longer exists. That place, because there's an interstate there, and I guess looking at the problematic nature of collecting. So for me, there are a number of problems in that collection, but there's also, um, there, I see that's where I learned about the history of where I lived. That's where I learned to be out in the woods and have a value for the environment. And I'm wondering, I guess. The question I want to ask is, do you think that this idea of collecting and mementos, do you think it's a particularly American concern, given that we are on land that, we're all immigrants, or and so many of us are immigrants to it. Do you think it's particularly American?
That's a great question, and I would immediately say no, because
Mhm,
the history of the Cabinet of Wonder actually starts with Peter the Great in Russia.
mhm, mhm.
And and it swiftly goes through Europe. So you could sort of say, is it a particularly Anglo-European
Right.
desire,
The
right?
Luxor column in
Right.
Paris. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at other cultures back in history, it's not clear that they liked the fragments of previous cultures in the ways that we do. And part of I think that is because in Europe, particularly, and I think we inherited that tendency in America, is it became a way of establishing empire. Like you would collect things to display the wealth and usually the superiority of your culture because you could do it. You can afford to buy these things and to travel. You can afford to travel to get these things. And you have the good taste to be able to discern what is an interesting fragment or not. And, in England, like the British Museum and the Virginia and Albert Museums, all of those, they were understood in the arts and crafts stuff. It was understood as a way of just creating Englishness. The museum was there to display the artifacts, not just of other cultures and thus hold up the awesomeness of the British Empire, but also to say, like, these are British artifacts that we create ourselves. And so, the museum was a place where people would go and they would dress up to go into it. And I think about this a lot because the American West Center, which I direct, is in some ways the ultimate collection. I mean, we have over 7,000 oral histories, with individuals, sort of an unprecedented number of Native American oral histories, so over 2,000 with, indigenous individuals. And if you go back into these collections, it's very clear when you read some of these oral histories, you listen to them, that the value of the collected testimony was in some ways very dependent on the oral historian who took that. There were some very paternalistic, racist oral historians that were contracted out by earlier generations in the center and went out and they would speak to different people, and you could tell that they had very little respect for the people they were interviewing. And it's sad because you read those oral histories and you see presence and loss simultaneously. You get some of their language, but can sense that they might have said much more had they understood that they were being spoken to by a person and not collected as historical detritus. And I think that, that's one of the things that haunts me as my role as director is that I am simultaneously directing this thing that comes with a lot of this baggage. And I'm inviting people to use these archives, to go into these archives, knowing the limitations of those archives, in some ways showing not just the decollage of bad history, but the cruelty of it. And so when I look at this, I wonder all the time, like, you don't want to be a museum. You want to, and you don't want to be a collection. You want to be a portal. That's what you want. You want people to go in and have access to a greater worldview. You don't want to go and create a souvenir, a cabinet of wonder. And sometimes I feel like we walk that edge, and that's in some ways the curse of us living in time. You don't know how your values and how your own way of being in the world are failing you potentially. And that's the paradox of being alive. Like you do the best that you can, and still, like it's going to be the director down the road is going to be like, I can't believe she did this.
Mhm.
She just made a cabinet of wonder, and I don't want to do that anyway.
Right. So when you say we walk this edge, I'm wondering if you're talking about, a historical center, or if you're talking about each of us walking that edge, or, I guess I also want to ask, get to that question of where does history end and art begin?
Yeah.
And just is art living history, or is art making history alive? I mean.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So first, the easy one is like each of us does this. It's not
Mhm.
just an institutional failure or, a museum or a center's failure. Everyone has this, little failing in them. But that question of where art and history, pull apart and get together, I think of that wonderful poem by Layli Long Soldier 38, where she talks about essentially like the difference between a memorial or an elegy and, a real memorial act is an act. It's not in words. But she also points out in that poem that in some ways she's like, well, this is not going to be a poem. This is not going to be a creative artwork. But actually it is, of course. And she's trying to respect the sentence, but she's pointing out that history is made of sentences, and history writing relies on metaphor. We can't escape it. And I think that that question of like where history ends and art begins is fraught because all of us are metaphor machines. We think that this is something that poetry does, but science uses it, war uses it, history definitely uses it because whenever we're talking about large conceptual issues, we go to metaphor, we think like poets. And so to a certain extent, that is just a rhetorical question. Art and history really are super close. And
Right.
pulling them apart may be more about our egos in the moment than it is about an actual ability to consistently say these are completely separate things. And I think we kind of know that because if you read a history written in 1940 about an event and you read another history from 2010 about the same event, they're not going to sound the same, right? They're interpretive, just as poems are interpretive.
Right. And I would say that I think, so often history has been captured by art.
Yeah.
I mean, if we consider, the filthy lucre of the British Museum or the Spanish court paintings,
Yeah.
and on and on. I'm afraid as you know, I can, talk with you all night. And I'm afraid we're coming to our end, but so, as a little bit of adding to history, I'm hoping that you will guide us out before Rio returns and read us the title poem for your book.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Um, Boy, where did I put it? Okay, yes. And this one also comes with its own shadow box
Mhm.
that I created. Um, and I was thinking about, so you can see that as I read it. Heritance. 2 million, my father offers. 5, 10. His imagined coffers swelling in the mind, like pages of his histories. Herodotus, Virgil, Thucydides, and of their military exploits by which our possessions were acquired, or the energy with which our fathers drove back the tide of war, I will not speak. He reads these words aloud, drinking, watches, in his fading mind, Pericles rise again from his knees before the grieving Athenians, the agora still smoking after war, all as reported by Thucydides, father of history, father of elegies for whom all descendants lay claim to greatness, if any, through those who came before. My father claims his greatness from his father, a wordless hunter who drank himself to death, head haloed with spilled dollars in the frozen bay he drowned in. My father would be, if not such a man, then one who leaves a daughter millions, if only imagined ones, wandering over the hummingbirds in his garden. Their bright wings he woos each winter to the sugar baths. I could weep to see such tenderness in him who believes money is love, love, power, who used to slip me sips of whiskey as a child, holding up his father's rusted rifle to show me his sole inheritance. I do not pity the parents of the dead who stand here. I do not pity the sons of the departed. The struggle to emulate them is an arduous one. Years ago, I read my father's letters home from the Air Force, their blunt, bullying requests for better clothes, warmer bedding. It was cold in the East, he wrote his mother, colder than he'd ever imagined, then plaintive, worrying. Do we have fireflies in Seattle? All the men here laugh at my amazement. How much my father has had to protect himself with lies, bluster. And what does his slow loss of self now mean but the creation of other men to take his place? And now, when you have duly lamented everyone his own dead, let us depart. Tonight, I hold the latest sheet of accounts my father sent, empty numbers on half-empty pages on which he counts out the meaning of a life more than either of us will earn or know. I pretend his interest will grow. It will be enormous. It will be a legacy and not a grave, that when the sting of death finally comes, it can be lessened. It will never be lessened. How much I will never recover of my father, this child wandering the wilds of shrinking memory, lost and ashamed before its string of ghosts. He has become so beautiful, who has been so many different fathers. I have had a village of them, a platoon, a nation. This is the inheritance from which I trace out all my origins, father to father, back to the beginnings of fatherhood itself. The field outside is slick with rain, and something wavers from the grasses. Coins of light, thoughtless and bright. There are no fireflies on the West Coast. Thank you very much.
Oh, so good. Thank you, Paisley. I want to bring Michael back on here too for the three of us here for just a quick closing remark. Such a wonderful poem. I love this poem so much, Paisley. Tracing out back to the beginnings. We'll look for fireflies, I think. And what an invigorating conversation. My goodness. I think we will need that recording many of you have been asking for in the chat to capture this bit of history. We'll have it for you all soon. Thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight. We truly, truly cannot bring this work into the world without you. No gift is too small, certainly none too large. We humbly ask, if you haven't already, please make whatever contribution you can. Our readers and supporters prove to us every day the powerful necessity of poetry in this world, a world we all know in which we must constantly push back corruptions of language, machine insensibilities, dimly conceived futures, and at the very worst, hateful ideas and actions. Poetry, as old as our first utterances, is one of our mightiest bulwarks. By continuing to find the human, to surprise us with ourselves, to make tenable our own possibilities, here at the edge of history we share, as Paisley has so eloquently shown us tonight. Thank you again, Paisley. Thank you, Michael. Thank you all out there for your gift. Thank you for not only keeping poetry alive, but flourishing.
Thank you so much.
I wish you all a good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you all.